All right, good evening. So the chart that we saw earlier on, the one that looked like it was going up really, really quickly, I love that chart. Everyone else hates it. I love it because it's a J curve. And so I show it to VCs and I'm like, don't you want to invest in a J curve? And they're like, whoa, yeah, is that your growth rate? I was like, no, that's carbon emissions, motherfuckers. So that right there is the challenge that we're facing. And when you actually start drilling, pun not intended, into the industries that start to cause that, you realize that about 1912, two industries come up. Those two industries are the electric industry, the electric utility industry, and the second one is the automobile industry. Suddenly, these two industries skyrocket, and with them skyrockets carbon emissions very quickly. And it's been since 1916, which is when Henry Ford and Thomas Edison went camping together, literally. Google it, Bing it, for all I care. You'll find a picture. They went camping together, and that was the last time that those two industries spoke to one another, because then they went off on their own separate ways. Since then, carbon emissions kept going up and up and up, because we burn fossil fuels to drive cars, we burn fossil fuels to power our electric lights. We're in this really exciting moment suddenly. We're in this incredible moment where both of those industries were like, oh crap, we gotta decarbonize. And just so magically, 10 years after the rest of all of us, they also said, oh God, we gotta move to the cloud. Oh, what is the cloud? Is it fluffy? What's in the cloud? Is it my data? What is data? Amazing. Suddenly they have to digitize and decarbonize at the same moment. What I like about that moment is that it offers up something that I think is incredibly important as we think about the world's largest systems problem. Because you see, climate change, that little J curve that we're all so fond of, is a systems problem. We can do a bunch of point source solutions, but we fundamentally have to solve a systems problem. Unfortunately, we don't have a control Z. We just don't have a simple control Z. I wish I could just be typing, control Z, oh, it's done, fix it. No, it doesn't work that way. So we need systems solutions to solve systems problems. And the two largest systems in this country that drive over 60% of emissions are 32% from transportation and 29% from electric utilities. Magical moment happening right now. The magical moment is that those two industries, those two systems are becoming the same system. When you drive an electric car, you are inherently now part of an electric grid. By being part of an electric grid, you are also fueling an electric car. So magically, these two systems have become one. So I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna count to 3, and on 3, I want everyone to clap their hands. Okay? 1, 2. Yeah, see, I didn't even say 3. The problem is, Saul wrote a beautiful love letter that I also read. And we're gonna have 1 billion machines. Actually, in this country, we have 280 million cars, to be precise, which is double the number of households in this country. And when 280 million cars go all electric, and if all of them decide to plug in at exactly the same time, claps happen. But what if we could actually clap at the moment when you wanted to clap? What if we could clap at the moment when your hands weren't feeling sore? What if we could do so when the hands were greenest? The metaphor is starting to lose its point, but orchestration is critical. When 280 million cars go all electric, it is not going to be just about making sure that they are drawing the greenest possible power. It is also going to be about making sure that the physical infrastructure that is the most magical machine that mankind has ever built is able to absorb all of those 280 million cars, is able to actually make them a living, breathing part of the electric grid, and by being able to both manage and discharge those vehicles at the right moments, at the moments where you don't need the car because you're sitting at home, you're actually in bed. At the moments where the power is greenest, at the moments where your neighborhood transformer isn't gonna overload because you and your neighbor and everybody else clapped your hands at the same time, Those are going to be those magical moments where your car can provide so much value to the grid. But the problem is with 280, nay, a billion machines, no human can do that. Today, grid operators are humans. We need to augment them with artificial intelligence. We need the machine intelligence to actually augment the human intelligence so we can ensure that every car charges at exactly the right time with exactly the right energy and reduces the amount of infrastructure pain that we are incapable of building, unfortunately, right now. Because the build out of the electric grid would take $1 trillion. Not B, not M, big T. $1 trillion if we all decided to charge at the right time, at the wrong time, rather. And so what WeaveGrid does is it builds that artificial intelligence layer. It connects to your car. So when you plug in your car at home, we talk to the car. And then we talk to the grid. And we talk to you. But we do it all in the background. And we say, hey, let's make sure that Saul and Himanshu are charging at exactly the right time. Saul drives a Tesla. Himanshu drives a Volvo. Saul doesn't drive a Tesla. But we want to make sure that Saul, who has solar on his roof, is utilizing his solar at the maximum possible way to charge his car. And Himanshu actually is signed up for a 100% wind energy program. And by bringing together all of these different devices and these different preferences and the real-time status on the grid, and actually forecasting what is happening on the grid, you can optimize how those vehicles charge. And do so in a way where, at least due to WeaveGrid, we've been able to double to triple the amount of electric vehicles that a utility can put on their existing infrastructure. That means I don't have to build out more. I don't have to wait for 3 years to get a new transformer. I don't have to go and ask my regulatory commission to please, please, please give me another $1 billion because I just need to make sure that another 10,000 cars can come onto my system. Those are huge systemic benefits that ensure whether you drive an EV, whether you drive an ICE vehicle, or whether, like me, you don't drive a car, you still benefit from lower rates. And that's a systems benefit too. You still benefit from cleaner energy. That's a systems benefit too. And at the same time, we can ensure that 60% of emissions get driven down faster. And that right there is how AI can accelerate clean energy.
I love it.